In this video, we're going to be adding a tail to the snake. So, primarily we're going to be editing the snake class. Actually, I think maybe that's the only class we're going to edit. So we're going to add 3 fields, one of which is only sort of useful. But up in the fields of the snake class, you'll see a to-do for video 4. There's a video 4. So I want you to create an array list of rectangle objects called tail, and then create 2 other variables, one to remember the snake's current tail length, and one to remember its starting tail length. The array list of rectangles is going to be the tail, and so every time the snake moves, we're going to add a rectangle, and we're going to remove one from the end of the array list, from the end of the tail, actually from the beginning of the array list, but we're going to remove the end of the tail if the array list is bigger than the current tail length. If that makes sense. So, which is going to allow us to increase the tail length as the game goes on. So please add those 3 fields, an array list of rectangle objects called tail, and then create 2 other variables, tail length and starting tail length, or whatever you want to call those. Then initialize those variables in the constructor for our snake. The constructor should not be taking a boolean. Sorry if that was in previous videos. It shouldn't have to take a boolean called classic. We're going to do that later. Alright, so initialize the 3 fields. I initially set the tail length to 10, and the tail start should obviously be set to whatever the tail length is. And also initialize the array list of rectangles. Then this is going to be the main method that you need to implement. So let's read the instructions together. To do after video 4. Implement this method. It should add a new rectangle to the array list of rectangles, so just tails.add and then new rectangle at the snake's current position. So the final element in the array list is the closest tail object to the snake's head. If the length of the array list, however, is greater than the tail length variable, remove the first element from the array list. So tail.remove element 0. If you're trying to picture how this works, it's just that the first element at index 0 in the array list represents the end of the tail, not the part closest to the head. And I believe that's all for this video. And let's see if we run it. It should do this, I think. And this has been weird and stuttery, but you can see there is actually a tail at this point. It still doesn't hit the goal and do anything. And it can just go out of bounds, but we're going to work on those things in the next video.